Come on, recording. There we go.
There you go.
All right. I'll just do my special intro for this one because I'm not gonna do the whole what it is stuff. We don't need to do. Well, I'm gonna do it, but in the way that only makes sense for this video. Anyway, what it is? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another segment of the First Ones to Die talks about. If you're hearing some white noise going on, it's because it's hot. So people got fans and ACs on and whatnot. But yeah, we will power through with cool air pumping. Hope you're doing well. I got your two favorite co-hosts as part of this podcast, Jonathan and Alex here. And today we're going to be discussing why these movie theaters can't seem to stay open. It is no secret that movie theaters have been struggling as of the past, I don't know, probably like even before COVID, probably like the past like 6 or 7 years. But COVID definitely didn't help, and it's made it only worse. And so today we're going to talk about maybe some factors that are leading to movies closing, and maybe also ways that movie theaters could recover from where they're at currently. And also maybe who's to blame, like who's in charge of maybe getting movie theaters back in that place. And so we'll start with you, Jonathan. What do you think is some factors that are leading to movie theaters not really making the money that they used to make back in the day, back in our day, when movie theaters were like everything, like movie theaters were popping?
So I think, and I don't actually have all of the facts in front of me, and this is my opinion. Um, I think, in my opinion, it's a little bit blown out of proportion, the dire struggle of movie theaters. I think people
You're just gonna let me say all that shit, and now you're just gonna come behind me and be like, I don't know, I think he exaggerated a little bit, but
no, but it's no. I think it's no. I think it's a topic of discussion because there's some basis behind what you just said, so it's not completely baseless all that you said, but I think there's room for contention in that. I believe people are tired of seeing specific types of movies, and because we haven't stopped making all of those types of movies, we as in the cultural zeitgeist, and people aren't showing up for those specific types of movies. I think that's where people run into the idea of, oh, movies are failing, movies aren't popping anymore, when in fact we've had a couple movies recently, and even throughout the year, that have made a good amount of money, like Inside Out, like Challengers, and there are probably some other ones, but they're not coming to my head right now. But I think the main example that comes to my mind is all the Marvel stuff and how Marvel isn't really a movie theater event like that anymore, or at least hasn't been in the last few years. And I think that's partially due to fatigue. It was back to 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 back for a good stretch of time, in its prime. I feel like the time when we worked at the movie theater, that was prime time for Marvel. And I'm glad I got the free tickets because of that. But now I'm not as interested in all of this stuff because it's been so much, and also because I don't get free tickets anymore. But yeah, I think that's partially the reason. It's an amalgamation of things. That's partially the reason why people think it's dire, and why it also might seem that it is dire.
Alex, what are some of the things what are some of the thoughts you have on what's hurting movie theaters, or at the very least hurting the movie going experience in general, maybe?
I think we're in the midst of seeing a genre shift. The reason movies were so big and hyped just like only a few years ago was because superhero movies were really big and popular, and those were getting pushed out all the time. Now nobody cares about superhero movies, but they're still trying to push them out. Like when they did with Black Adam and everything like that, and it was failing. And like, because nobody wants to see superheroes anymore. You're right. We got fatigue from it. It was just constantly over and over, and Marvel used that, but now it's over. There is always a genre shift where you see a bunch of type of movies coming out at the same time. For a while, it's romance movies or movies, where sad teenagers are dying, but they meet their loves in the hospital or something like that. Sad teenagers was a popular genre for a while. Looking for Alaska, 5 Feet Apart, um, whatever John Green
Fault in Our
novel,
Stars.
whatever John Green novel got turned into a movie at the time was a big deal. I think you're seeing now more popularity in horror movies, and I think that's really cool. You got like Smile 2's coming out, Long Legs, Notre Dame.
I'm excited for that.
Nosferatu. I'm excited because Long Legs does look pretty good. It looks pretty intense. And you also have the thriller genre coming out as well, like with the movies like Twisters and things like that. And I think they're not producing the right movies anymore. They're still trying to cater to what was once in the past. And also streaming did affect a lot of it because a lot of us did prefer just to be able to be home because people suck in theaters. People are rude as fuck all the time. And I've even seen on TikToks and social media and other videos where people are like, well, why can't we talk in theaters? Why can't we just discuss? And there's always some random kid crying in a theater in a movie that's not age appropriate for them. So of course they're screaming and crying. They shouldn't be in that movie. Those bad parents. That's a bad parent. So getting to be home and just watch it, and especially with somebody who has like sensory issues and somebody like me with my ADHD, and sometimes I have to walk away, I'm not missing anything. I get to pause it for just a moment, go take a breather, come back and continue watching my movie. That made a whole different, that was a whole different level of experience to watching movies that really showed when now I'm sitting in theater, also with my back pain, I can't sit for too long. So I'm fidgeting, I'm getting up, making the theater experience less enjoyable for me at times, So I think when we got that experience of finally able to have it at home, we enjoyed it so much. We don't want to go back to the theaters. And then we don't want to go back to the theaters for movies we're not even going to enjoy. It's no longer the experience. I'm no longer excited to go see that movie. When we went to go see Bad Boys, I was excited to see that movie. Weirdly excited for some reason. I was excited. So that was a nice experience.
You thought Will Smith might have been in the theater watching with you.
That was so funny.
In theaters? What?
No, Will Smith went to see Bad Boys in theaters in some random theater in LA, I think, or California, and he was just in the back enjoying himself. And then, like after, I had more respect for him if he had just left and nobody knew he was there. But then he had to
he was like, hey,
I can't help it. Hey, that was a good movie.
Mobbed.
Like, and then the whole people swarmed, and I'm like, as a former theater usher, I was like, I would be so pissed because now we gotta make our way through the damn mob of people to get to the theater that we're trying to clean right now. That all these people just left.
You're like, go that way,
right? You can go to the lobby at least.
Step out of the theater. I got a job to do. There's a next showing. We gotta keep moving. So I didn't know that. I did make when we went to
smacked him across the face for that.
So we went to go see. Lord, we went to go see Bad Boys on a Tuesday afternoon. I just messaged Rome. I'm like, you want to go? He's like, yeah. So I picked him up, and I don't know what I made fun of. There was only one other person at theater who had bought a ticket ahead of time. I don't know why I was laughing.
No, there was three.
No, there was 3 other people in the theater by the time the movie started, but only one person had bought a ticket ahead of us. It was just sitting alone, dead center, and I was like, who comes alone to a movie theater at like 3 p.m. to watch Bad Boys? And then I realized, oh, well, we do, for one.
But y'all weren't alone. You had
each other. I'm like, we had each other. It was just in the 3 p.m. We're going to go watch Bad Boys at Cinnabar. That's all I'm saying. It was a little, I ended up, but that's also what makes it fun. Cinnabar, also a different style of theater too, where you can get food and drinks and have a better experience too. Theaters that have more novelty. People
it's a 21 plus theater on top of that. So you're
Oh,
only
that's right.
watching movie with adults. There are no kids. There's no risk of kids coming in or even teenagers coming in. It's only adults, even for PG-13 movies where teen families could come. It's a 21 plus experience exclusively.
Well, and
But-
right. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, right now, I feel like we are in the peak. We're in a peak time for movie watching in the sense that it's so accessible right now. We have every single movie chain has some sort of program, loyalty program, some sort of like pass where you pay the monthly fee and then you get semi unlimited movies. Shout out to AMC with the subscriber pass. Because right now, A-list, there we go. Changed. Because right now, I've been able to watch more movies than I feel like I ever have because I have the pass. And normally, like when I was growing up, it was an event to, go to the movie theater with my parents. We would get there early, get all the snacks, sit down. Now I could just, like you said, go on a random Tuesday and not think about it. And with all of the different theater options and theater styles, theaters are so comfortable now. They make them like designed like home theaters with the recliners, with the food options, with bars. It's pretty much standard to have some sort of bar in almost every theater now. So I think they've really made the theater going experience really accessible and fun and enjoyable. So I think that's in a way to encourage people to come to the theater as well.
I do agree that they've definitely changed the theater experience in that way, and that the atmosphere is definitely different than when we were growing up. Like when we were growing up, a bar and a theater, the only place that was acceptable was Cinebar. Everywhere else, it was assumed that it was a family type of affair. So the movie going experience, the most you can get is popcorn, soda, candy. That's pretty much it. Maybe some like finger foods like chicken nuggets or pizza, something like that. But for the most part, it's going to be like popcorn, soda, candy. So I do agree. I think the theaters are trying their best to make it a little more of a like kind of taking cues from the nightlife experience of whatever city, all the metropolitan cities and stuff. My take on it is I think the reason movie theaters are struggling is twofold. Number one, I think and this is something I think is definitely got to change, but I guess one will affect the other. The price is too damn high to go watch a movie in general. Just buying a ticket alone in most average cities, your average ticket price is somewhere around $25 to $30. And that's for one person, one adult, like after tax, about somewhere around there, close to 25 to 30 bucks. 25 if it's a matinee is why I say 25 to 30. Then on top of that, let's say you want to get you some snacks. You want to get some popcorn or whatever. $8 to $10 to get you some of that popcorn. Well, you can't just eat the popcorn by itself. You're going to need a drink. So that drink going to be another possibly $8 to $10 by itself.
Or I sneak in my own drink.
That's fine, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you're not going the Jonathan route, you're trying not to be a criminal, you're trying to support local business around here.
Is Ringo the AMC really local business?
We would see, when we worked there, we would see people sneaking their whole chicken dinners, and we said not a thing.
That's because we allowed it. That's
anybody who's going to the theater, ushers don't give a shit if you're bringing in food. Just don't make it obvious. Backpack purses, we don't care. Don't bring your whole ass giant pizza. And that was actually a thing that happened.
I knew you were gonna bring up pizza. I knew you're still angry about that.
Much shit about it. She gave me so much shit. Like I was the bad guy. Bitch, it was a sold out Thor movie. Sold out.
Saying your kids are so hungry.
Insane. Why?
Yeah, I remember
like,
that
but
day.
You made them wait in line without the food, with the food, just smelling it in line. Made them wait in the car, everything, but they're starving. to them. Don't bring a
An ample
where are we gonna
opportunity.
put
Now
that
the piece is
box?
cold too. The piece is
She
cold.
liked it. She never came back for it. We all ate it.
Yeah.
So that's like, and then it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculously too high. And mind you, all of those prices, I told you, that's basically like a $50, $60 trip to watch a movie. On top of that, that's just one person. Times that by 4. If you're the average nuclear family model of you, your spouse, 2 kids, right? That's a lot of money. That's almost like $100-something for one night just for y'all to watch some Avengers. And mind you, that's not like, you know, that's to be expected, right? Like, movies have always been like a pricey thing to go do with your family or with your friends or whatever. But the difference is that, like, as time has gone on, the price of living has gone up exponentially. And so people are trying to be a lot more frugal with how they spend their money, especially when it comes to going to see things like, you know, shows and plays, concerts, whatever. And they want to spend it on stuff they know for a fact they're going to enjoy, because you don't want to waste your money, especially with theater prices being so high. And then on top of that, you know, concessions and all that stuff. And so it's like, we're back when we were kids, like, you know, we would watch almost anything and everything. You'd be going to the movie every other week just to watch stuff, because you can only watch a bunch of reruns on TV. But, you know, if you want to see a movie, like a new movie, you got to go to the theater. It's the only way.
Or you gotta go to Blockbuster on Friday night.
Right.
But early Friday, when they put out the new releases, you gotta be there on time.
Or you got to have premium cable, which back in the day was expensive to have HBO and like Cinemax and stuff like that. Like, you had to get that like with your cable package or something. So it's like
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but now it's like, and this is my second point leading into that, like, and piggybacking off of that. And the second point, there's no urgency to go to the movie theater anymore. Movies aren't staying in the theater long enough for people to really have to go to the theater to see it. Hell, Quiet Place Day 1 they're already talking about that movie is going to be hitting streaming soon. Like, that movie just came out a few weeks ago. If that, I think it may have only been out for like 2 weeks. Yeah, it's
been less than a week since it's been. I saw
right.
it on
like
Friday.
At the time of this recording, it's been less than a week that movie's out, and already in movie news, they're talking about it's hitting streaming soon.
The only thing I've seen about that movie that anybody's talking about is the cat. I've seen nothing else but the cat. Did you see it? I don't want to see it because I can't. I can't. I know the cat survives.
In fact, that's the issue a lot of people have, is that literally the cat is almost never in danger. It's everybody else. Cat's fine.
Clearly,
cat is living their best life. Matter of fact, during the apocalypse, the cat is like, I'm eating good. I'm doing all right.
The cat is never in danger, but the cat caused a lot. I won't spoil too much, but the cat should have. If we were working in the real world.
Hey. I want to make something very clear. I would sacrifice. I love you both, but I would sacrifice you both in a heartbeat for cheddar.
That's fair. As long as same for Gibson.
But I'm just saying, there's no urgency at all to have to go to the movie theater when literally the movie that you might like. Because here's the thing. The only urgency that is there is one that you as an audience member place upon yourself. Like, for example, we're going to review Deadpool and Wolverine. We know, as people who have watched a bunch of movies and are into pop culture, if we don't watch it on opening week or opening weekend, rather, there's a possibility we go get spoiled because everyone's going to be talking about that movie on the internet literally the next day after it just came out. So there's an urgency there of like, we got to get in. We got to get to that movie as soon as possible so that we could really like enjoy the experience truly, and and just like with no surprise, with all the surprises, right?
Really quick, going off that spoiler thing though, it's the same way with trailers. They release too much information during trailers. I can see edits from movies basically telling me the whole story because somebody got the 3 trailers, the teaser trailer, the opening trailer, and then the final trailer, and have put the whole story together. And I just saw a whole edit on TikTok of the whole movie. And I was like, well, I literally know everything now. Why do I have to go? It makes the movie less enjoyable because like, oh, I know that scene from TikTok. and then your mind goes to like, what social media post had this edit from this trailer that you already took it from, and that's like a whole big thing. You're getting the spoilers in trailers a lot of the times too, and then you can't ignore those because so many people are like, oh, look at this trailer, we're getting this, I hope, and then you're just getting this like bombardment with that, and it's like, can't you just wait for the movie? Why are you trying to make all these plot lines from the 3 trailers you got? Just wait for the movie. Stop making these weird edits. The fan edits are also getting weird, but continue.
But it's like, but no, you make a great point that it's like, and then, marketing is also a big issue of why there's no urgency either. I remember we reviewed Abigail earlier this year. That Abigail trailer, if you watched the trailer, you saw the movie virtually. The only thing you didn't see was the ending. But the premise, the twist of the movie, some of who dies and stuff like that, all of that's in the trailer. So it's like, why do I even need to spend the money when I can wait for this to come out on streaming? That's the thought, and that's the mentality. And the issue is that it's like, that's a problem for your business model if people are willing to look at your movie, regardless of if they watch a trailer or not, and say, I'm not really excited about that. I'll just wait. I know in 6 weeks after it comes out, it's coming straight to streaming. So there's no urgency for me to really, and then when it comes out on streaming, you at most you might pay $30 to $20 and you have the movie forever, or at the very least you've rented it out for you to invite all 6 or 7 of your friends or whatever, do a viewing party, watch it online, whatever. And that $60 something you were going to pay just to go see the movie in a movie theater has now decreased by a third because you waited for it to come out on streaming. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I heard that, I read this online, so it could be true, it could be not. I read that there was a study conducted that said people are more likely to go watch a movie overall. The majority of people are more likely to go see a movie if they know more about the plot than if they don't. I think there's some validity to that.
There is some validity to that. I mean, that's why trailers exist in the first place. The trailer was made because it was for people to learn more about what movie they're about to watch.
Right.
Before they see it.
I feel like there's there must be a Reddit forum or something. Does the dog die? Because a lot of people want to know whether or not, and I just saw a post about it literally the other day or yesterday. That was tell me if the dog dies in the movie or not before I watch it. People want to know that information. That people want to know that kind of stuff. They want. I feel like people say they want to be surprised, but they really don't.
No, that's actually a really great point. And if you watch some of our old episodes, I do exactly that. You guys were talking about some movie.
I was thinking about
it. Yeah, it was the one with Mark Wahlberg, I think.
Oh,
yeah. And I was like,
yeah, I
think you were saying
the King something or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
King's dog.
Arthur the King.
Yeah.
Arthur the King. There we go.
And I was like, I need to know now because the way you guys were talking about how the dog was everything, and then both of you got this look of and I was like, okay, I need to know now. Does the dog die or not? Because that will affect if I'm going to just put myself through that emotional turmoil. And I just did it again with Quiet Place Day 1. I can't watch it because of the cat. Because if the cat's harmed in any way, I can't do that. So I understand totally what they're getting at. But I think those are I think when it comes to emotional effect like that, yeah, especially when it comes to animals, because I really don't see that with other stuff. Oh, I want to know if they make it out, together, or if this person survives. I really only see that with animals.
I had a coworker when I was. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You're telling a story.
I had a coworker when I was talking about Robot Dreams, and she was asking the same thing. She was like, "Does the dog die? Does the dog die?" I can tell
this robot straight up chokes this dog out.
You know what?
This movie.
Millennials, Does a robot turn evil? Oh, now I need to know. Does the dog die?
I am sure the dog does not die.
I just need to make sure. I'm not emotionally stable. I'm
The
on
dog's the
medication for a
main
reason.
damn character.
Oh, and the main character has never died.
I mean, that's true. I'm just saying.
Like,
Okay,
some of
spoiler alert
Anything,
for
the
Robot
robot
Dream.
probably died.
Oh no! Don't spoil it. We're gonna go see it on
No,
July
we're gonna go
12th
see it next
at the
week.
Grand
That's
Illusion
fine.
Theater.
Wait, are you guys really?
Yeah.
This is literally our only chance to see it is to go to this theater at 7:30 on July 12th that day. This is the
Wait, that's
only
the
chance
only
we will
day and
have.
time?
That is.
It's literally the only date and
think-
time.
Yeah, it is there. I think another day. Like I think it is July 13th. They have one other showing, but pretty much yeah. That is it. I'm buying tickets tomorrow or Friday when I get paid. We are going.
Oh,
And
I
we're going
love
to
this.
find this Grand Illusion Theater. And if it just doesn't exist and it's just a name, I'm going to be pissed too.
But yeah, I'm just like, but I here's the thing. I think there is something. Like, it is true. Like a lot of people. I'm not saying trailers are bad because there's still some studios out there that can put together a good trailer. I point you to look no further than the Barbarian trailer. If you watch that trailer, you have not a clue. Like as a person who's seen the movie and seen the trailer, if you watch the trailer, you don't know what the plot of that movie is at all. In no way, shape, or form. You know what the first 5 minutes is, and that's pretty much it. It's past that. You do not. That movie goes places you would not expect. And it's because they put together, and that was the only trailer. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure outside of like TV spots, which were shorter versions of that same trailer. But outside of that, that was it. That was the trailer. And that's all you got. Because that's all you needed. It got a lot of intrigue. It made people really interested in what was happening, first of all, but what the horror was. And it showed off its two main leads who were really popular actors at the time, especially Bill Skarsgård coming off of It Chapters 1 and 2. And so people saying, hey, Bill Skarsgård's in this movie? Okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Like it gave you all the information you absolutely needed to maybe get you excited about the film if you really wanted to know something. But it also left enough mystery where if you want to know about this film, you got to go see it. That's the only way.
Well, they're doing that now with Longlegs. They're handling it very well. They're keeping the main monster a secret. And then also they had that creepy marketing where you call that number and it's just pretty much somebody deep breathing in your ear. I didn't call the number, but I watched many people do it. It's just creepy sounds on the other end, which is fantastic. Because again, it doesn't give anything away. It just makes you be like, ew, what was that? I have to go see the movie now. Also, they don't do cool marketing like that anymore.
It depends on who's doing it. Like, yeah, because there's some people who do like some like mostly whoever does cool marketing is normally like if it's an independent film and they can do it themselves because the studio won't put the money in to do it.
Or if they have like a huge budget like Barbie.
Yeah, or like Barbie, or even like Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds will do some like interesting marketing stuff for the Deadpool movies.
I saw some cool stuff. The Nun, the sequel. There was some cool marketing around that, around LA. They had they wrapped a building to make it look like it was like a cathedral from the Nun. It was pretty cool.
And it reminds me of Smile tried to do some marketing that just didn't work out by having the person at that baseball game smiling at that T-shirt, and then security had to come and tell her to sit down. But they tried. Places. They tried, and they did pretty. Even Wednesday.
In all fairness, you can't do weird stuff in a giant crowd anymore. People react, which is absolutely fair.
No, that's
people,
right.
Yeah, people react now when you're doing weird shit in the crowd. So,
but I think that's like, I mean, because I think regardless of trailers or not, still, the thing about the trailer issue is that you're getting a lot of movies where you're seeing a lot, and to your point, also, Jonathan, as you were saying earlier, and what Alex was saying too about the superhero genre and stuff, is that I think. And this is not a superhero problem. This is a blockbuster problem. But all of the blockbusters that come out in the past, I want to say since like Iron Man 1, like since 2018, they all look and sound and feel the damn same. A Fast and Furious movie looks no different than an Avengers movie, which looks no different than a DC movie, which looks no different than any other blockbuster that's coming out around the same time. Like they all have oodles of CG, tons of like a lot of gray. They love gray. Like a lot of like bombastic stunts and stuff. Like it's all, and especially it doesn't help that a lot of the same actors are in the same movies too. Like you see The Rock in like 6 or 7 of them, Batista's in a bunch of them. You see what's it called? Tom Cruise in a lot of them, Ryan Reynolds in a lot of them. Like it's a lot of the same faces in a lot of movies that look the same. And so it's making people go, I've seen it before when they watch that trailer. And so the urgency to go see it in theaters isn't there because it's like, I can wait for it to come out on Paramount Plus or on Netflix or whatever. Like, do you think that like I think Hollywood is paying attention, and I think it's since this happened, but I think it's also telling that last year, the 2 movies to top the box office for the summertime was not a Marvel movie. It wasn't your regular blockbusters. It was a movie about a damn like doll and a biopic about the atom bomb. Those were the top movies. Now, granted, there are factors outside of that affected those movies being popular. Number one, Barbie is a very popular brand. A lot of people know Barbie, even if they don't play with Barbies, you know what Barbie is. So there is the name recognition there. And then Oppenheimer was directed by people like someone that people argue is one of the greatest directors of our generation. So I'm not going to say there aren't like outside factors that made those movies make money, but it still is the fact that those movies did so well in a year where we had multiple Marvel movies came out. We had a bunch of other blockbusters that were competing. We had another Indiana Jones movie, one of the greatest like adventure legacies to come out. Like these are the 2 movies on top that year. That's telling. The only ones to kind of come close is like Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, and and Mission Impossible. And that's because those movies took so long to come out. People have missed them. So that's why people went to go see them, because you don't know when the next ones are coming out. But still, it's like when the product starts looking the same and everything feels so generic, why would I spend the $60-something to get myself, like, or $30-something to get myself in? Ask my friends to pay their $30-something to get themselves in, when I can just invite them over to my apartment 6 weeks from now, like, or 6 weeks from when that movie comes out, 8 if it's a really good movie, and we can watch it on YouTube for like $20 all together. And the benefit, we could be as loud as we want. We could talk during the movie. We could pause it if we want to. We could cook a whole meal if we want to. Bring our own snacks, all of that. And nobody is going to say nothing to us because we in the comfort of our own home.
And that's also what I go back to with, I'm talking about average movie theaters. I'm not talking about like Cinebar. I'm not talking about like those movie theaters that have the recliner chairs or comfortability. Regular movie theaters also, their seating is just so uncomfortable. And I gotta ship out. Sometimes I gotta walk with a cane, okay? And I can't sit in those seats for long periods of time. It's not just because of my ADD, but physically can't sit in those seats. And it hurts. And it's like, you all also haven't upgraded. People don't want to be uncomfortable anymore. People have a choice to stay at home, be comfortable. I can sit in my nice, comfortable chair compared to going to the theater, having to deal with that whole seating area thing. Maybe I'll get an annoying person next to me than being physically uncomfortable talking. Although the woman that sat behind us when we watched The Nun, Jonathan, she got me into the movie because she scared the shit out of me more than the movie did. Sometimes it is helpful for them to exist. She scared me more than the movie. She was no reason for her to be screaming like that. And
no,
then,
that was it, wasn't it?
No, that was it. Tevin scared me during the night. I'm getting scared by other people in the movies. That's the point. So like, it's also that the decor hasn't changed. The theaters haven't changed with us. And I think that's also a downplay in a lot of not necessarily not wanting to go to see the movies. It's more so not wanting to go to the theater. Because as I mentioned to you, Jerome, I'm like, yeah, I want to go to the movies a little more, but I want to go to more interesting theaters. I want to go to theaters with more personality. I want to go to theaters where it's like this, and actually this comes back to your point. It becomes more of an event now, because when we were kids, it was an event. You got, some pocket change. You're like, go see a movie, just like back when movies were in their golden age and picture age. Here's that 10 cents for a movie. The kid went to the theater for the whole day. We want to make this an event because it costs so damn much. We want to make it feel like we're getting so much out of it, just with the venue alone, to the food we're eating, to the movie we're seeing. And sometimes people are like, oh, you're asking for too much. It's just a movie theater. No, I am paying a lot out of my hard-earned money to go watch this movie. And yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes to watch something at home. You do want that experience. Mm-hmm. But it is costing me so damn much. I do want to start expecting more for it, because that's just how it's going to be. And when I have to pay more, I'm expecting more. And when the venue hasn't changed, when the movies start looking all the same, when the quality of the food is that's just burnt shit popcorn, of course I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'd rather just stay home with the people I know and care about, who if I say shut the fuck up to in the middle of the movie, they're not going to go with the manager on me. They may start, that may be fighting words, but there's no manager. They're going to fight back with me, but in a loving way. So I think that comes a lot around to why people don't want to go to at least traditional theaters anymore. Cinebar, I feel like, is still doing pretty well, just because it has that food. It has that, alcohol, that over 21, where you can just be a little more, you can get a little more loud when you're laughing in the theaters. You don't have to worry about somebody getting scared who is in an not appropriate aged movie. It's not necessarily that kids should be banned from theaters. It's kids should not be allowed in inappropriate movies for them. That falls more on the parent, of course. The child has no choice but to be there. And, it's just the lacking of experience now is not worth the money for me.
I will also say to that effect, I think that's where the theaters are definitely responsible, is they're not upgrading the experience. They're upgrading the experience in the sense that, like, we have like the Dolby Atmos theaters now, and then 4DX and IMAX and whatever. They're like increasing like picture quality, sound quality, stuff like that, but they're not increasing like having more comfortable seats, being more accessible in ways that, other than just having like, like having more closed caption ways for like people who are sensory friendly to be able to watch movies, those that speak a different language to be able to watch more movies, stuff like that. And so I think they're not adjusting it fast enough, rather not to say, because there are theater chains doing stuff, they're not doing it fast enough to meet the demand to keep up, I think, is really where the major issue lies, especially. But I also think studios are to blame too, and it's in the sense that movies are becoming way more expensive than they used to, in a way that feels weird, because you look at the movies and you're like, this shouldn't have costed this much. In a world like that Indiana Jones movie, the last one we got was like hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's like, Indiana Jones though? Did it need to be hundreds of millions of dollars? Sorry, Jonathan, you were going to say something.
Oh, no. I thought you were talking about, I thought you were going back to the expensive like ticket price, but no, you're talking about the movie.
Oh, no. I mean, like, actually the literal making of movies is getting, and I only bring that up because,
well, that's because everything, you see the price of eggs now? Imagine what the price of like the camera equipment and all this.
No, don't get me wrong. No, making movies, it is expensive. Like, no, making a movie costs money. It like, especially if you want to make something that's big budget. I mean, that's why we call it big budget. It's like, you want something with a bunch of effects and a bunch of A-list actors and stuff like that. Like, making an Avengers movie is not cheap. It's not supposed to be cheap. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that because of how expensive certain movies are, it means they require and need a certain box office as well. And because they're not getting that box office, they're like studios are being more willing to just either throw movies away in the sense of like, go straight to streaming.
Batwoman.
To streaming. Batwoman in particular, literally being thrown away.
Batwoman. I said Catwoman.
I mean, that movie should have been thrown away, but
Wow.
But Batwoman, yes, in Batwoman's case, yeah, literally being thrown away for
And
tax purposes.
what is it? Coyote versus what was it? Coyote. Sorry, I'm looking it up. Coyote
Well,
versus Acme. Sorry,
Acme?
Acme.
Coyote versus Acme. It was a movie starring Will Forte, John Cena, and other people, and it was going to be a live action like court trial movie where live action / animated court trial movie where Coyote is in court, I guess, suing
Wile E.
Acme.
Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote is in court suing
I
Acme.
would have watched that movie. I think
Right?
that would have reminded me so much of like the other movies. The one with Roger, Who Killed Roger Rabbit?
Yes,
And then
it's
the other
in that
one,
vein.
yeah, and the Looney Tunes one, which I love
Space
because
Jam?
Brendan Fraser. Yeah, no, Space Jam too. It has Brendan Fraser in it. It was
Oh,
the
Looney Tunes Gone Wild.
yeah. Those movies were
Or something like
popular, and it still have a cult following, like Space Jam too. But that would have been great.
Yeah. It says they shelved Coyote versus Acme in November 2023 to obtain a $30 million tax write-down, making it the third film shelved by Warner Brothers after Batgirl and Scoob: Holiday Haunt.
Batgirl, that's what it was, not Batwoman. I'm sorry, Batgirl. But yes, I mean, to be that was like that's a weird whole other thing. That's a whole other podcast in and of itself. That section, because that's when Warner Brothers, I think, was sold to Discovery, maybe, or changed CEOs. I can't remember. But something had happened where they made a lot of those choices during that time specifically.
And the budget was apparently $7 million, so they still lost $40 million, which I guess is not a lot. I wish I could say that in my lifetime. I hope to say that at one point in my life.
But I just say with because here's the thing, it's like with a lot of these movies, like studios are not being as willing to and despite whether we like that or not, a lot of the big studios are not willing to take risks anymore with a lot of like newer IPs or just making new IPs. That's why we're getting a lot of remakes and re-releases and adaptations and all that type of stuff, because it's easier. It's a built-in audience, and they want a guaranteed payout of some kind, which you can get if you're making something that people know, as opposed to things that people don't. Whether you agree with that or not, that's neither here nor there. That's again a different podcast. We can discuss that at a later date. But because of that, you're getting a lot of movies that are coming out, and because they're not making the box office in the movie theater that studios, it's creating this feedback loop essentially of them like not being able to put a lot of faith into a lot of movies, and thus not putting a lot of quality into a lot of movies. Thus meaning that the quality is dipping, or so people aren't coming to see the movie because it looks cheap or it looks bad or whatever the case may be. And so now people aren't going to put money into that box office so they can make their money back and yada, yada, yada. And it's just this cycle. And so I think studios also need to like reevaluate how much money they're spending on certain movies, because here's the thing: if the money you spent on the movie is lower, look at all the horror movies that have made money these past couple of years, even during COVID. They made money because the budget was low. And so even if the box office wasn't amazing, they weren't getting like $1 billion something worth of people coming through, they still made a solid 30 million and made profit, or a solid 50 million and made profit. And that's where I think, you look at a lot of the older blockbusters that were made for somewhere around 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. And not all blockbusters are measured the same. The money you would spend on a Star Wars movie is not the same money you would spend on maybe like the Meg 3, right? It's different movies, different equations.
Is there going to be a Meg 3?
I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of books, so they could be.
Don't get my hopes up. But that's actually what I meant with the genre shift. More horror films are being liked nowadays. More horror films are starting to get made. I think it's because of that low budget quality, because they're putting more into the story, because they don't have that budget. Because everybody's like, no, nobody wants to be scared, blah, 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 or, some bullshit like that. No, they like the storytelling. Sometimes it's a crappy story, but they put more into this story than they did to the budget. And it completely shows that they tried with these characters in some way or form, or they tried with the story and try to make you hide the secrecy, or even with Abigail, that ended up being weirdly interesting. You got the whole plot, but it was all set in one house with with like 6 characters, and half those characters were gone before even mid movie. But the main character Abigail was so complex, and there were so many different things with her. She was, chasing these people, but she was still a weird little girl, but she was also ancient, and she had daddy issues. Um, and she was a fantastic dancer. Beautiful technique for such a young girl. I think she's gonna go far, either as a dancer or as an actress. She's very great. She also played Matilda, I think, before in the musical. But
Mhm.
it's that you don't have to get flashy with horror films as much. And when the horror films do get flashy, you're just like, what the fuck is this? Why am I watching this? Everything, nothing's popping out at me. Oh, they're just trying, like psychological thrillers sometimes do that. They try to mess with you too much, and it goes to the point where it's like, I don't want to watch this. You're just putting a lot into the budget to try to not scare me, but kind of mess with me. And also, the quality of music in movies has gone down a lot. With horror films, you get that music that's, that low bass that gets into your bones. Nowadays, music is just pushed into every quiet moment in movies. Uh, Cruella is a great example of that. There was not a moment a song was not playing in Cruella. Every time there was a silent moment, she's walking, there's a song. They're having a moment, there's a song going. Just there was never a space to breathe without music. And that's also what it feels like in a lot of movies nowadays. It's just like the quality of music is not great, but you're just pushing so much music. It doesn't help the film at all. There can be moments of silence, or maybe instrumental instead of actually somebody singing. It would help the movie more so than trying to get these big artists to have that like major song like they did with Arcade.
Arcane.
hmm with the Imagine Dragons.
Funny enough, we got season 2 coming out soon, actually, of Arcane, which is the final season on top of that, which is really interesting to me because I'm like, what do you mean the final season? It's only the second season.
I wonder what Imagine Dragons songs will play.
I am curious too, actually. Last thing I will say also, and piggyback off of that, is it's true, like the quality in like, because it's like I look at stuff like Dune Part 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, looking at Barbie and Oppenheimer. Also, and I think audiences are starting to feel this way, but it's studios that aren't still getting it. Take risks. I think that's the biggest issue with why people aren't going to the movie theaters. We're not seeing anything new. It's only in the past couple of years that we're really starting to get some movies that either look different than what we've seen before or feel different than we've seen before. Because Dune is also a big budget blockbuster, but nothing is like Dune. Like I can't say there's another sci-fi movie that came out in the past couple of years that feels and looks like Dune outside of Blade Runner 2049, which was also directed by the same person. So it makes sense that they feel the same because it's made by the same guy. But other than that, Dune feels like its own, like a completely different type of sci-fi blockbuster compared to like Star Wars or compared to the Marvel movies. And it's like same thing with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. A lot of other animated movies are trying to emulate that style for sure. Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was amazing. I love that movie. Tried to emulate it with a painterly style. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows, same thing. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is still definitely like the creme de la creme of like animated movies right now. And people love it. Why? Because it doesn't look like the like next generic Disney movie that we're getting, or it doesn't feel as flat as the most recent Pixar movies we've been getting. Inside Out not included because that movie's great. But
that's why I was mad that they canceled Coyote versus Acme, because it would have been such. It's
I don't
not,
know.
It's not brand new because it's you know,
'Cause-
it's
Yeah, but we don't get those movies
before.
often.
I
Where
know,
it's the,
yeah,
live
exactly.
action
I
with
mean,
cartoon.
I'm just
'Cause
saying,
every
like,
time they do live action, it's just creepy CGI. That's not live action. It's
I
just
mean,
creepy CGI.
but here's the thing: nobody, I don't know how many people watched that most recent Chippendales movie, and that was basically the same thing.
Wasn't that a hit though? Didn't people like that movie?
People liked
I
it, but I
watch
don't
it
know a
with
lot of
you?
people that watched it. The people who liked it watched it, like who are the people who watched it. I'm talking about like blowing up. You know what I mean? Like seeing it on TikTok, people talking about it, all that stuff. That didn't happen with that Chippendales movie, that Rescue Ranger.
Well, I think this would have done well. I think this movie would have like look at here. Just look at this. Let me share my screen. Talk while I share my screen.
Did I watch the Chippendale movie with you?
No,
I watched it. Did I watch it alone then? That's weird. It's not something I would usually watch. But maybe because it was like that. Because I love that genre, the live action with the cartoon, the mixing of genres. Because when you get CGI, it's not doesn't feel like a mixing of genres. It just feels like they use too much CGI. But like when you get the Chippendale movies, you get the Looney Tunes Gone Wild, you get stuff like that. It's like, oh, this is cool and creepy in a weird way because this is too cartoony. How is that real life kind of thing going on? They're like still two-dimensional. It's the two-dimensional part going with the live action with the actual real people that makes that fun. Not the weird CGI where they're weirdly round characters for no reason.
here, Jonathan.
Can you
Is it
pull
not
that up
sharing?
on the?
I got you.
Thank you. See, look at that. That just
That
looks
looks
funny.
great.
Right. That looks. Look at that. It looks like it's blending of like a serious court drama with like a funny animated film.
That looks great. It looks like another Roger, not even a Roger Rabbit. It looks like the Looney Tunes Gone Wild.
Right.
That movie was fantastic. Or Space Jam, because no, both like live by the cartoon world's rules. And that's also what's fun. When humans live by the cartoon rules, that's also like a really neat concept because when it's normalized, like pulling up that black hole and walking through it, and then the next person gets slammed into the
I guess
I
just
hope-
for me personally, this feels to me like a fun short. It doesn't feel like a movie. Like I don't know how funny this will be for 2 hours compared to like 30 minutes.
Boo.
Because that's what this feels like to me. It's like,
Boo.
and that's probably why they scrapped it.
Because Jerome complained and we lost the movie.
I didn't complain. I knew the movie was
I
coming
feel
out.
like
I
it's
just
you
didn't think
now.
about it any one way or the other.
Oh, was
Jerome
John
signed a
Cena?
petition.
Was
Yeah,
John Cena the
was in
Coyote?
it.
Coyote.
No, he
Coyote.
The Coyote. Good lord.
No, he apparently played the lawyer for the Acme Corporation. So he was
Oh,
the lawyer against Coyote.
that's not a good. John Cena, when he's released into a proper comedy role, he's funny as hell. He's
Right.
a really funny actor. He has proven to be one of the most funniest actors I've now seen in like a little lifetime. And it's weird because I never thought John Cena would be such a good comedy actor. He's a good actor, but like comedy, he's a comedy star, really.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
But-
gonna need someone at Warner Brothers to like maybe a disgruntled employee or something. I don't know, to just leak these movies because
Okay, but
we
here's
need to
the
watch them.
question. Here's the question, because like I didn't hear anything about Coyote and Acme. I don't even think it got that far in production before they scrapped it. But
No, they
Batgirl,
filmed the whole thing.
did they?
Just like,
Okay,
just
cool.
like Batgirl, they filmed the
So
whole thing.
I'm just saying, what would you do though? Because here's the thing. I can't speak for Coyote versus Acme, but I can speak for Batgirl. And from what I hear, Batgirl was trash. Every
that's-
single person said that, and not even any of the stars came to combat that. They just didn't say anything. So,
But I don't think
so it's
that's-
like,
I don't
so
think-
it's like, how would you feel if you're like, oh man, they should release
no,
Batgirl
wait,
and then it'd be
wait.
trash.
I don't think that's fair to do because you for every movie that's a process. You have a test audience. Sometimes the test audience reacts better than not, and that's the job of the movie to like tweak things, do reshoots, so rewrite of parts of the script. I don't think it's fair to trash the whole movie every time a movie doesn't get good reviews. You know how many movies we wouldn't have gotten if that happened?
I'm just
Sonic.
saying.
No, Sonic is a good example of that. You're right. They saw how audience reacted to that creepy look in Sonic, and they're like, okay, we don't want him to have the human teeth and the beady eyes. Got it. We'll make him actually look like the character.
No,
And it
no.
was so much better.
That's different because the problem people had was with a CG character that could be replaced. Batgirl, they said Batgirl was trash because the plot was trash. There's no fixing that. That's just the
here's
script.
The problem also. This superhero world is also hella toxic. So I don't even know if the plot line was good or not. I just have a bunch of superhero people being like, it sucked. Cool, but like you're also like very kind of like toxic with your own genre. All right, so I don't know if the plot sucked or not.
Here's the
for
thing.
us average people.
This isn't coming
we
from
just
fans.
want to see
coming from people within the company. We're saying that the movie was bad. They're supposed to be saying the movie's amazing. This movie is the best movie we've ever seen in our life. All right, there's never been a better movie than Batgirl. That's what they're supposed to say, and they're still like, I mean, you know.
Look, they put out Madam Web.
I started smoking again because of that. You make with that with what you will.
They put out Madam Web. They could have put out Batgirl.
I'm just saying. I'm not
standing up. They put out Madam Web.
The final cut.
They could have put out.
I can't say that Batgirl was or wasn't bad. I'm just saying that like
they put out Batgirl. I should get my Megalodon 3.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of you're right. There are a lot of movies that are trash that get put out by the studio, regardless of that. Mostly it's the movies that get dumped in January, but but that doesn't it's a thing where it's like, look at the state we're at now, though. People are tired of superhero movies because we've gotten so many that have been trash from both from a bunch of studios. Marvel, people weren't feeling Bloodshot. There's DC movies people didn't like. It's a there's enough that people can make a top 10 list of the worst superhero movies ever made. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those come from this most recent past 10 years, not the Daredevil days and the Elektra days when all superhero movies were bad, except Blade. So Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. But again, that I think that just has to do more so with the genre shift. It happened, you had that, like I said, there was for a while, you got Twilight, whatever John Green Book movie was coming out. You had this moment of that, and now you have this moment of superheroes where there were blockbusters. And now we're jumping over that, and I think we're seeing a new renaissance of horror, which I love. It's fantastic. I'm excited for it. There's some good ones coming out.
This year, there are so many, especially in the fall, I feel like there's so many horror movies that are going to be coming out.
I think
it's just people want something new, and horror films, thankfully, they have. Don't get me wrong, a lot of horror films are the same. Spooky creature, demon, curse of a witch, or something. Especially but it's the way
movies. They're all
I had a dream last night that I was in.
Jonathan's possessed.
No. Listen,
you said that. I was gonna say. I was like, here he goes on his Martin Luther King thing again.
No. Anyway,
go ahead.
I had a dream. I had a dream last night that
I was gonna say racist, but I'm like, that doesn't apply to you.
Y'all. Anyway, I had a dream. Let me just stop saying that. Last night I dreamt that
What did you dreamt about?
That I was in a horror movie, and then I woke up and I was like, "Oh, this is actually low-key a fire idea for an actual movie." So I won't say it on the podcast, just in case we have anybody who's a writer and wants to steal my idea. But I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. I'm like, this is a good idea for a horror movie.
I'll say this. I think that I agree with you that the moving of genres is also helping. I mean, people still like superhero movies, but I think we're getting less of them because people are getting tired of seeing so many of them. And it's no different than what happened to the Western, what happened to the sci-fi boom when there's a bunch of sci-fi movies coming out, and a bunch of action movies coming out, when the action days were then in effect, all that stuff. So that's already it is a shift in genre. And then on top of that, though, we are seeing the rise of, because of back to what I was saying about Barbie and Oppenheimer and all these other movies that are super creative being the ones to make the money in the movie theater. A24 is the leader in this, but they're not the only ones. Independent film, I think, is where the money is really starting to go right now. You know what I mean? Like the money, everything, everywhere, all at once made was ridiculous. But it earned it because it was a good story. It was super unique. No one had ever seen a movie like that before. And it stayed in theaters for a long time. Like even when it went to streaming, it was still in theaters. So people went back and they saw it. I personally saw it 3 times because I saw it once by myself. Then I brought a friend who hadn't seen it. Me and her saw it together. And another friend, she hadn't seen it either. So I went with her and saw it again. And I was glad to pay for that ticket because I knew I was going to watch a quality movie. And it's stuff like that where it's like, that's if movie theaters want to survive, and this is probably my wrapping up point. If movie theaters want to survive, that's where it needs to be. It needs to be like it used to be, a synthesis of the studio being willing to put time and effort and money into really great products, even if it's no guarantee of it being like a smash hit, like putting money into something that has the potential to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I say it all the time. The studio had no faith in Star Wars. They thought for sure, I forget the studio that put out Star Wars right now, but they thought for sure that movie was going to bomb. But they gave George the money anyway. And they were like, I mean, it's this new director named George Lucas. He's made a few films, whatever. He wants to make his like dumb sci-fi movie. Go for it. And it ended up spawning one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. Movie studios need to be more willing to put more money into the stuff that is like that. Maybe it doesn't on paper look like it'll be a smash hit, but that's how you get the John Wicks of the world, which now has 4 movies. It's how you get the Everything Everywhere All at Once, which dominated the box office. It's how you get the Barbies of the world and the Lego movies of the world too. Same thing. Because Lego movie also made money and spawned 3 or 4 other movies behind it, including a Pharrell movie now, even though that's technically not connected. But still, I'm just saying, a Pharrell biopic that people are excited to see because it's done in Lego. Put money into the stuff that, like, it might be risky, but it's fresh. And that's it. You know, that'll solve a lot of the problems. Not all of them, but some of them. And then movie theaters, drop y'all damn prices down. At the very least, drop the concessions price down. The tickets can stay where they're at. The tickets make sense. The concessions don't make no damn sense. Popcorn shouldn't be this damn high, okay? Candy shouldn't be this damn high. First of all, candy be rotting your teeth. My dental bill is already high enough. I don't need it to be higher because you spending all this goddamn money making it.
You don't go to the dentist.
I do go to the dentist. I love my teeth. And I have dental insurance, so I actually can afford to go to the dentist. Okay, that's right. Without it, no, I would not go to the dentist. I'd be out of luck. Just have to live like Jesus, eat nothing but bread and drink water.
Hey, that's what the dollar store is for. That's why we get our dollar store candy and we sneak in our drinks.
Just bring things in a backpack. Nobody cares.
Although for me, I have to get the nachos whenever I do. I don't always get food when I go to the movies, but when I do, I have to get the nachos. It's always been a thing for me growing up. Always got the nachos, and I will keep. I'm actually craving them right now, to be honest. So I might go watch a movie in the next couple days just to get those nachos.
Seattle, I'll go watch a movie with you.
Hey, yeah, let's do that.
I'm the same way with the ices. I'll sneak in anything else in my bag or whatever, but I always want to get an icy when I'm at the movie theater. Always blue raspberry.
If they have it, because it's great, the cherry limeade flavor. I was just at a movie the other day, or a couple weeks back actually, and they had the cherry limeade flavor.
What like in the icy
machine. I think it was a one-off because I went. I think this was at Alderwood. And I went and they had cherry limeade. I was like, hell yeah, cherry limeade's in. Yes, please give me the cherry limeade. It's the best flavor.
That sounds good. Yeah,
it's a good flavor. It's really good.
Right
you guys have any last final thoughts that you want to say on this topic before we wrap up?
Not really. Audience, let us know what your movie theater snack is, but also let us know what your opinions are on the state of the theater at this very moment in time. We'd love to
Yeah.
know. Drop a comment below, and yeah, just get involved with us.
Yes, but that's our first ones that I talk about segment. Before we go, as we do always, socials. Jonathan, where can people find you?
You can find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die. You can email us, thefirstones2die@gmail.com. You're watching this on YouTube. I don't even have to guess if you're watching it anywhere else, but you're watching it on YouTube. So go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. And yeah, let us know what you think about movies in this day and age. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at Alex and Nodi on Instagram and on TikTok, and the podcast. My English is gone. It's so warm today. The podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of videos we have done, things we are watching, and things I do when I get bored. So come join me over there and interact. What about you, Jerome? Where are we finding you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Red and on Instagram. And please, you're already on YouTube, so you're already halfway there. But if you could hit that subscribe button, baby. You want some of this podcast goodness, and hit the like button, favorite too. You know what I'm saying? Share it with your friends and share the love and stuff like that. We'll more than welcome them over here at the First Ones to Die podcast. And of course, if you're already looking at the YouTube channel and this is your first time with us, then you're in a good spot, because let me tell you, we got some extra content on this YouTube channel that you would love to check out. Gaming videos, vlogs, book reviews, mini reviews of other stuff we just don't have time to do full podcast reviews of, all types of stuff. So, and more stuff on the way. We're putting out stuff right now. So please subscribe if you don't want to miss any of that, because it's a good time. And we like to have fun over here. So you'll have a bucket of laughs and all types of yeah. Tune in for the next one when we get to it. I mean, it might be a while, but we'll do it.
They come around.
Listen to the main podcast of the First One.
Yeah, listen to the podcast will be here too. So you'll have something coming soon as well.
Mm-hmm. But until then, have a great night, good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching this, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
All right. and record.